Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Always great to have you on with us, and we appreciate it very, very, very much. And let's wait and say hello to a few folks. Okay, here we come. People coming on with us this morning, and we appreciate that very much. And who's number one today? Katricia, how are you? The first time I've seen that name. Brahim, Portland, Oregon. Nativity, Mary, Kim from Timmins. Good morning. Nice and cold, eh, Kim? Welcome back from Florida. Nick from our staff. Mike from Norland. Madeleine, bonjour. Linda, Nouveau-Brunswick, how are you? Wendy, good morning. From Markham. Suzanne. Fran from Orangeville, good morning to you. Milika, Stouffville, Ontario. Gary, Bolton. Leela, Werner. Faye, good morning. And Yvonne, Petawawa. Jeanette, bonjour. Cecilia, Sudbury, never heard of it. Where's that? Yolande, how are you? Bonjour. Yeah, Kim says she's freezing. Jeanette from our staff. Chantal Hamner. Kevin. I always miss you, Kevin. I don't know. I can't get over it. Kelly. Good morning. Serpa. From Dowling. Vera, Newfoundland. Rita. Good morning. Donna. Park Hill. Deb from Cambridge. Sherry, how are you? Francis, good morning. And Marilyn, how are you? From Edmonton. Holly, Len and Judy from Edmonton, well represented. Mara from Windsor. Marcia, Mexico, hello. How is things in Mexico? And Bruno, North Bay. Marnie, freezing Mississauga. Oh, even down there, huh? Dave, Windsor, Rosa, Pat, good morning, guys. Thanks for coming on. Lynn, and St. Catharines, good morning. Well, guys, we appreciate you coming on. I want to talk today about histamine. Okay, I've had a few people ask me about histamine intolerance. And let's go into that a little bit today. But I used to use an expression, okay, in my office. You know me, I like to tease people. And I get the odd person in, and I would tell them, don't donate your body to science, you'll confuse them. Okay? That was an expression I like to use. Okay? Don't donate your body to science, because you'll confuse them. Man, you've never seen stuff that is as confusing as what we call histamine intolerance, okay? And really what that is, okay, what is histamine? Well, histamine is a substance that your body produces to eliminate things. Okay, so for example, when you use an antihistamine, okay, so mast cells, M-A-S-T, they release histamine, okay? So I used to know, even without looking at a patient or taking any other test, if I took their blood, and I saw all these mast cells. Mast cells are white blood cells that release histamine. And a lot of times people would come in, and when I looked at their blood, I saw all these mast cells, and then I would turn to them and said, you got allergies. And some of them were so bad that I used to say, I think you're allergic to yourself. Don't donate your body to science because you'll confuse them. Okay? So, histamine released by mast cells, you know, when you take an antihistamine, right? You ever taken an antihistamine for allergies, or, you know, even when someone has a cold, they often, you know, recommend, you know, Tylenol, cold and flu or whatever. There's usually an antihistamine in there, so you stop sneezing and coughing as much, right? Because your body is just trying to get rid of something. The problem with histamine intolerance is now your body is, what happens is that it's always in a high state of alert. And, you know, it's overreacting to things. Okay, so you see people, allergies, and it's not just allergies or asthma though, by the way, okay? Because when you have a severe histamine intolerance, you're allergic to everything, just about, including yourself. I mean, it really is an autoimmune reaction. And I used to see this a lot. Oftentimes I would call it a category 5 storm. Every one of their hormones were out of whack. Cortisol, estrogen, insulin, you know, the thyroid, right out of whack. And they were in a storm. And, you know what a storm's like. If you've ever been in the water in a storm. So the body is overreacting. Okay? Now, people that suffer with these kind of things, they're a mess. And for me in the office, what I used to do is I said, look, I'm going to give you a program, and everything we do is based on lowering your response, your autoimmune response. And we're going to help you with that. It's going to be a journey. It's not going to be easy, because there's several things that have to be corrected. Okay? Now, let me give you some of the symptoms that these people, because if you can Google histamine intolerance, but here's what I used to see in the office, okay? They like I said, they had big time hormonal problems, okay? They had gut problems. Usually acid reflux was common. I used to see that. And they had bloating. One of the issues, and I used to tell them, look, okay, I think it's important we understand this. When someone has a histamine overreaction, it's high state of histamine all the time. It starts in the gut all the time. That's where it starts. And if you don't fix the gut, you can't fix the problem. And nobody, these patients used to come in to see me, and they never got any kind of relief, really. And I said, well, it's because the physicians or whatever, they're putting Band-Aids on it. They're not getting to the root issue. You gotta fix leaky gut, but it's not just leaky gut. It's yeast, an invasion in your body. It's invaded your body, fungus, candida, and your body is overreacting to it. It senses a foreign invader, and the body's overreacting to it. That is the root issue. Okay, that's the root problem. And, it really is autoimmune when you think of it. Auto, self, immune. That's what it means. The immune system is turning on itself. And it's flagging almost everything that comes in as a foreign invader. And the reason is because the immune system is preoccupied with an invasion of Candida fungus. And believe you me, trying to get mainstream medicine to take this seriously is like pulling teeth, if you know what I mean. It's just, mainstream medicine, unfortunately, when it comes to anything complicated like this, they deal with symptoms. So, antihistamines, even steroids like prednisone, it lowers inflammation, so let's do that. Yeah, but that's a Band-Aid. An antihistamine is a Band-Aid. Because it's not getting at the root problem. You have to start with the leaky gut, yes, plus you have an invasion of fungus. How did that happen? Well, usually it's a perfect storm. Antibiotics, which are life-saving, can be, leads to leaky gut because it kills all your good bacteria and thus the invasion of the Third Army. People who are under a lot of stress. Stress is, it's pouring gasoline on the fire of inflammation. So it's usually a combination of things. And then, bad eating even. Well, doc, I don't feel good. Guess what? Yeah, but you're making it worse. Because you're feeding the invading army. And if I could just get patients to understand that, listen, it's not your fault. This has been building up over the years. And again, symptoms. What did I used to see? Insomnia, panic attacks, severe anxiety, nausea. They were nauseated. Heart palpitations, lightheadedness, headaches. They just lived in constant headaches, fatigue, fainting, hives. They get urticaria, hives. I said, you're allergic to yourself. Don't donate your body to science. You'll confuse them. But again, I'm a why guy. Why is this happening? Okay? And again, if you take a careful history, you'll see that usually there's a pattern. Even years before this all occurs. And, even as teenagers, if I saw it in women, they would, I rarely ever see this in men. Not that I didn't. Rarely. Men are so uncomplicated. Really. Women are complicated. If you don't know that in medicine, you're out to lunch, okay? Women are complex because of hormones. It's complex. But men can get leaky gut too, and they can have problems, but it usually doesn't manifest itself like this. It can, but it's rare. What happens in a constant state of histamine? Okay? the adrenals get exhausted. Because, you see, this is stress, okay? You know me when I do this, okay? Okay? Your body's in a high alert. The fight or flight. You're going to run or you're going to fight. Okay? Now that can be because of a person's personal life. But the adrenals can't tell the difference between an environmental or, you know what I mean by environment, like chemicals and you know, being inundated with toxic chemicals, you know, air fresheners and this and that and the other thing, or it's stress from an antibiotic that, you know, I was reading an article the other day about Cipro, okay, which is a classification. It's still a very popular antibiotic. It bothers me that it's still popular, and they give it out like candy still for urinary tract infections, even sinus infections. My friend, when you go to your doctor and you need an antibiotic, don't take Cipro. It's got a black box warning on it, meaning that even the FDA and Health Canada put a warning on it that it can cause major problems. One of the most recent is that it's saying it's causing abdominal aorta dissection. That can kill you. But I've seen it over the years cause major problems. And if you've taken Cipro years ago, it can put you into histamine intolerance. I've seen it happen. And again, am I against antibiotics? No, I'm not. But boy, oh boy, there's been a real curse. You know, the long-term effects of them have been disastrous in a lot of cases. Disastrous in a lot of cases. So, okay, back to those symptoms. So your adrenals, okay, the fight or flight, they release what hormone? What hormone does your adrenals release? You guys know this. The main one that I talk about all the time. Cortisol. Right? You guys are smart. Annette. You guys know this. And cortisol, you know, Francis, you got it. Jeanette, you got it. Lynn, you got it. You guys, I'm telling you, Barbara, you got it. It's cortisol. And cortisol is wonderful. It can save your life. Wanda, cortisol. You're right. Anna, okay? You're right. It's cortisol. Cortisol is your friend. Okay, Connie? Cortisol is your friend until it's not. Because you're not meant to be in that state. Okay? For a long time. And when it's there too long, those adrenals get exhausted. Okay? They get exhausted. Now back to histamine. Okay? Back to histamine. It's really, really important to get to the bottom of what's going on. And a person needs to start at the gut level. Remember, a gut-brain connection. A lot of people have brain fog with this too. When a lot of people have headaches, inflammation in the brain, it started in the gut. And yeast travels. It can go to your lungs. It can go to your sinuses. It can get into your brain. And it can be a major, major factor in autoimmune. As a matter of fact, any autoimmune, in my opinion, is leaky gut and the invasion of that third army. I used to see it. I used to see it. But again, it's difficult to change a leper's spots. Medicine, God bless them, don't give them something new. Yeast, come on. It can't get into your bloodstream. You would die if you had a fungal infection. Well, you were going to probably die from it, but it's a slow death. You have no idea how many times I heard that in my practice. Patients telling me. The doctor said, Doc, Martin, he's crazy. You have to develop a thick skin. Okay? You have to develop a thick skin. I had a thick skin. I was telling someone the other day, I can't even remember what day it was. I said, I think it was yesterday. I was telling someone, I really don't care. Guys, I mean this. I really don't care what, doctors think of me. Because if I did, I'd never have practiced the way I did. I really don't care. I'm not trying to be Dale Carnegie. Okay? Dale Carnegie? You got to be old like me to know who Dale Carnegie is or was, right? He wrote a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Well, I wasn't trying to win friends in my practice. I wasn't trying to be your friend. I was trying to tell you the truth. And, if that got back to your physician, I don't care. They do their thing. I do my thing. That's what I used to tell patients all the time. I do my thing. Are you ready to trust me? Because I want you to start by doing this, this, and that. Okay? So these people were very, very unwell. And some of you listening today know exactly what I'm talking about. Because you're very unwell and it's complicated. And no one has really sat you down and told you what I'm telling you this morning. That it started in your gut. It probably started years and years and years ago. It might have started with the first time you ever took an antibiotic. It wiped out your good bacteria and you got an invasion of fungus. And your body, you're the canary in the coal mine. Your body was sensitive and for some hypersensitive, and you overreact to everything. And you go, Doc, what do you think about food testing? Don't spend any money. I used to have these kits. I don't know if I have one around here. Okay, and there were labs that I used, okay? Once in a while. If a patient insisted, I said, this is true, by the way. I said, well, I can take your blood and I'm going to send it to a lab. And they're going to do food intolerances to you, okay? I said, give me $600, okay? I'm going to send it out, and you are going to get a complete report. Now, you know what that lab did? They gave me $200. They sent me a check for $200, okay? The $600 I sent to them so they would do the testing for a patient. $200 came back to me. They actually wrote me checks. I didn't do it much. You know why? I used to tell these patients, I said, why don't you do your own testing? Okay? Eat something, take a record. Is it bother you? Flag it. Okay? You know, for some people, like I said, they were so hypersensitive, almost everything. I said, well, there's no use doing a blood test. It's going to come back and everything's going to be off the charts. You're allergic to yourself. Like, I said, trust me, let's start by fixing your leaky gut. Okay? So, broad spectrum probiotics, I'd start from the top to the bottom as far as the digestive. I said I'd have them on digestive enzymes. I would kill that SIFO that was in their small intestine, that small intestinal fungus overgrowth. I said, we got to kill that. That's why I was huge on oil of oregano, and I put it right in my digestive enzyme. So we got to kill SIFO. And don't feed the bears. You're coming off all sugars. No sugar whatsoever. Okay? Not even fruit. God's candies. You can't have any for a while. I don't want you feeding the bears. You have to let that yeast die. You're probably going to get a die-off, and it's not going to be pleasant. But you got to trust me. We're going to walk you through this. Probiotics, digestive enzymes, no sugar. Nada. And anything that turned to sugar. Rapidly. Bread, pasta, rice, cereals, sweets, pastries, anything like that, nada. I said you're going to drink water. 2 liters of water every day. Okay? And put some Himalayan salt in it. It's going to help with the detox process. You need to salty up the water a little bit. So it wasn't that complicated. My treatment was starting with the gut, getting rid of that invasive army. I said, look, this is probably for someone that was real bad. I said, you're on a project for at least a year with me. But you're going to be encouraged much earlier than that. But you got to trust the process. Because like I said, you are absolutely, your body is so exhausted from being, releasing histamine all the time. Okay? So drink water and drink coffee. That's it. Someone said, well, there's histamines in coffee. What a bunch of nonsense. The only reason you shouldn't drink coffee is if you don't like it. Okay? If you don't like it, what can I do for you? I feel sorry for you. It's real vitamin C with 1,000 phytonutrients. I mean it. You're never going to get scurvy if you drink coffee, okay? You just won't. You'll never get scurvy if you just eat meat too. Eggs, meat, and cheese, you'll never get scurvy, promise. People think they need fruits to get vitamin C. Well, I'm not against fruits, except if you have a histamine intolerance. Okay? So I did that. I would often put them on high DHA in order to lower the inflammation markers, you know, get their CRP, because they usually was right through the roof. And they usually were extremely low in B12 and vitamin D. Vitamin D is a very important natural anti-inflammatory. It lowers all markers of inflammation. And these people generally were extremely low in those two vitamins. They were low in vitamin D and they were low in B12. Okay? So, you know, these were really the way I went at these things. And, you know, they needed a lot of coaching. And I used to get people to write down. I said, you're going to start a diary, okay? And a food diary. And we're going to figure this out, okay? Because some people, they were so limited at first. And then they watched as their leaky gut got better, they were able to expand their diet. But I mean it. I would have their insulin down to almost nothing. They ate no crappy foods or crappy vegetable oils or nothing in the middle aisles of their grocery store. I was very strict with them. But if you want results with something as complicated as that, you had to really... And then they started feeling better, and their headaches were much less, and their hives went away. And they you know, their insomnia was better. They were starting to sleep better. And, you know, things got better. Like I said, it's a journey. I used to tell those people, look, if you want a quick fix, well, first of all, if any doctor offers you a quick fix, run. Because they don't know what they're talking about. There's no quick fix for that. It's a journey. And it was going to take some time. Okay, that was fun for me at least. And then, you know, you guys, I gave you a little test this morning and you passed with flying colors. You know, you're thinking along with me. Oh, I love this audience. They're so smart. Okay? I mean it. Guys, we love you and you know that, and we love you dearly and you know that too. Okay? And Friday is question and answer Friday, so send your questions in. Okay? We love that day. It's fun. Okay? You put me on the hot seat. I like that. I really do. I look forward to it. I thrive. When you did an open line radio show for over 20 years, you got used to the hot seat. I like that. Okay? Okay, guys, we love you dearly and sincerely. I will talk to you soon.